Welcome everyone back to my 7 deadly sins. I hope you have all had a great and safe week. Today we're going to be looking at envy. Now, when we think of envy, we think of basically jealousy. Being jealous of something someone else has is usually what you think about when you think about envy. Now, envy is a lot like greed in that we want something we may not have. Well, unlike greed, more times it's envious. We want something another person has. Now, greed can be this as well, but jealousy is more so than greed usually is, and jealousy can actually be quite destructive. You can see this in several examples of the Bible. Most famous is Cain and Abel. Cain was jealous of Abel's sacrifices and wanted the favor he had with the Lord, so he killed his brother. And then there were Joseph's brothers who sold him into slavery because they were jealous because, he was having dreams and his father valued him. And finally, though it's not finally the only example, but it's one I'll mention, there was David and Saul. Saul was jealous of David after he killed Goliath because they sang the song, Saul has slain his thousands and David his tens of thousands. And of course, he tried to kill David on several separate occasions and tried to hunt him down, and David had to flee from him. Now, the scripture we're going to look at today is James 3:16. It says, "For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder in every vile practice." And like I said, these vile practices can lead to harm of someone else because you want something they have. Now, it doesn't always lead to harm, but what jealousy can do, and does in almost every circumstance, is when it gets out of control, it can really eat you up and just kind of take over your life in a sense to where you want what this person has. Let me give an example of wanting what someone has from a personal experience. There was a guy in the church I was going to about a couple of years ago, and he was quite a bit younger than me. He was like 20, I believe. And he came into a good job that gave really good medical coverage. His own house he got from relative. He still had to pay mortgage, but he got a 3-bedroom house, and he had a pretty little girlfriend. Now, I didn't want the girlfriend or anything because she was too young for me. She was like 18, 19. And here I was, I'm like, I can't find a job. I'm still living at home, can't drive and stuff, and these were circumstances beyond my control. And I hated it because, I was crippled, my job options were limited. He did something, I believe, like overseeing the building of houses and stuff, and he had to work out in the heat, and he said it was horrible sometimes. But I was jealous of him because he had this job that was room for advancement, and he had this house and his girlfriend. Now, I managed to overcome this before it got so bad to where I really got jealous of him, and eventually I was even happy for him that he got such a start at a young age and he got his life going. But another thing, and this is what jealousy can do, it can make you fail to realize that the good things you do have in your life, I have a home, a trailer, me and mom own it, and I mean, I don't hate living at home with someone else. My mother's good to me, and I'm good to her. We basically help each other out. And yeah, I had all the comforts of home, and a lot of people don't in the third world countries. They say if you have a roof over your head and food to eat, you're richer than about 70% of the people in the world. But this is what jealousy does. It can cloud your mind to where you're not thankful for anything you have because you're so concentrated on what someone else wants. And it's always good for us to be thankful for what we do have, because a lot of us, and I know there's exceptions, there's people that do have horrible lives, and I'm not denying that, but a lot of times we are fortunate to have good, really good things in our lives that we fail to see when it comes to jealousy. And it can be destructive if you don't keep it under control. Like I said, I was fortunate to be able to do so in the case where I was jealous of that boy at church. And I didn't want to hurt him or anything or wish a misfortune on him. But it was still hard to overcome this when he had, he had a job, a girlfriend, things that I've wanted for years. And no, I'm not going on a pity party. But it was just hard because I was jealous of him, and it did start kind of taking over my life, but it didn't get to that point because I managed to conquer it, and that's what we need to do. We have to overcome, and the best thing for us to do is look at our own lives and try to count our own blessings, Look at the good things we have and be thankful for those things and realize, there's people out there that have a lot less than we do, and we need to be thankful for what we do have. So my advice is just when you're jealous of someone, take a step back and look at your life. And most times we are fortunate than other people in third world countries because a lot of us have roofs over our head and food to eat, and I assume if you're watching this video you do. And we just need to be thankful for these things instead of concentrating on what someone else has and let it take over our lives. Next time I will be concluding with the final and what can often be the most destructive, wrath. This will be the final video in my 7 Deadly Sins series. I hope everyone has a great week, and be safe and be careful out there. Okay. Bye-bye. God bless.